This video is going to be my long-term review of the Tuff Carbon wheels. I've done a couple videos on these wheels, which I'll link below. I'm not going to really rehash what I've talked about in those videos. How do these wheels stack up compared to my Stans Valors? How durable are they? How do they ride? What are some of the other features that I like or maybe dislike about the wheels? Just a real quick recap of the specs of these wheels. Both front and rear are a 28 spoke hole count. Both are 28 millimeters in depth. As I mentioned in the first video that I did on these wheels, they did not come with rim tape, so I put Stans tubeless rim tape, added a Stans valve, and they worked great. Now, I did mention in the first video that I could push on the side of the bead a little bit and get some air to hiss out. Actually, with these tires, I can't do that, and I did actually get that to happen on my Stans Valors, so that ended up being not a big deal at all. Now, I did test these rims in North Carolina, and I'll talk about that in a few minutes, but I will say when I went up on that trip, I aired these up to my desired pressure for the ORAM, the race that I did up there, and then I did not touch the wheels with a pump after that. No leaks at all. And so I had mentioned also that, you know, they didn't have the Stans bead socket technology to lock in the bead of the tire, but actually it's no big deal. When I air these up tubeless, they pop into place just like any other tubeless wheel that I use, and like I said, they hold air really, really well. Now, I will mention that the nice thing about not having a really solid channel to lock in the bead is you can get the tire off really easily, which I cannot say about some of the older Giant mountain bike rims that I literally like peeled back the skin from my fingernails trying to get the bead out of that channel. So honestly, I'd rather have no or a small socket than one that just locks in the tire too much. Now, by the way, the newer Giant mountain bike rims I've found a lot easier, but some of the older ones and other rims that I've used, man, it just locks it in almost too tight. Now let's talk about the durability of these wheels. And like I had mentioned, I did take these up to North Carolina for two reasons. One is I wanted to use these in the ORAM and really put them to the torture test because there was some really rocky, rough descents on that. And then I did some riding after that, like 3 days after the race. So I wanted to test these things in a pretty rough environment. The other reason is I didn't want to take my Stans rims up to a really rocky race. You know, I've invested a lot into my Stans wheels and I just didn't want to ding them up. I can say that these wheels have proved to be bomb-proof. I had a couple rocks hit these to where I was like, oh, and I just thought I just put a big, huge, you know, gouge in the rim or whatever. The only thing that I noticed on the wheels is one of the rims has the sticker kind of scuffed off a little bit, and I'm sure that was from a rock. So right there, you can see I mean, I've looked over the rims and nothing else. So these are extremely durable. Now, I did mention also in one of my videos earlier that these have reinforced spoke holes. And I did show a cross section. So again, I'll link some of those videos below if you want to go check those out. I did have these on a bike that had Shimano components, and I switched them over to SRAM Eagle, and I got the DT Swiss adapter to switch these out, and it just pulls off. So just like the Stans, super easy to convert these to SRAM Eagle. Now let's talk about the ride quality of the Tuff Cycle wheels, and to do that we need to make a comparison to the Stans Valors. Now, are the Tuff Cycle wheels stiff laterally? Absolutely, and that's to me one of the biggest advantages of carbon wheels, and why you'd want to ride carbon wheels is because of that precision that you get from the lateral stiffness. So when you turn the bars and point your wheels into a corner, into a line, they hold it really well. These Tuff Cycle wheels are really lively, and I would say they are just as stiff, if not a tad stiffer, than the Stans Valors, which makes them again just as lively as the Valors and maybe a little bit more. And what do I mean by lively? That means when you are throwing the bike from corner to corner, they snap out of the corner and they hold the line in the corners. As far as acceleration and speed, these are just as fast as any other carbon wheel that I've used. So the bottom line is these Tuff Cycle wheels increase the playfulness and fun factor of the bike, just again like any other carbon wheel that I've used. Now, is there any downside to the Tuff Cycle wheels? Yes, there is, and let's talk about that. So in discussing the downside of the wheels, we have to do the comparison to the Valors. And by the way, the Valors are a $2,000 wheel set. You can get the team version for a little bit less. The Tuff Cycle wheels retail for about $975. So this is, to me, the difference that you get in price, and that is the compliance. So the Tuff Cycle wheels are a harsher ride than the Stan's Valors. I really noticed that in the last couple days. So today's Friday when I'm recording this video. Yesterday, Thursday, I did a ride on the Tuff Cycle wheels. Thursday night I swapped over the Stan's wheels, and then today, Friday, I did the exact same trails and rode the Valors, and the difference in comfort was fairly noticeable. So the Stan's Valors, as you may know, are built with the React system, which means they have a little bit of give, a little bit of vertical give. So that increases the compliance. So when you hit a bump, the wheels, the rims actually bend a little bit and absorb the bumps. It does work, and it is noticeable. That's why you pay more, twice as much, for the Stan's Valors. Because like I said, the Tuff Cycle wheels, they're stiff, they're fun, they're playful, but they are harsher ride than the Stan's Valors. Now, is that harshness a deal breaker? Well, it depends. Personally, I wouldn't put the Tuff Cycle wheels on a hardtail unless it's just a race day only bike. If it's an everyday bike that I'm using for trail riding, racing, whatever, then you know, it's just, to me, a little bit too harsh for a hardtail. What about a full suspension? Well, it depends on your tolerance and your budget. Just to kind of give a comparison of what it means to have a harsher ride, to me it felt like I added about 5 to 10 psi to the wheels. So the bumps were just more noticeable. Like I said, is it a deal breaker for you? It's really going to depend on what your budget is and what your tolerance is for harshness. I like a smooth ride. I ride courses that have just consecutive root gardens. I don't have a lot of rocks that I ride over, but if you lived in a rocky area or a rooty area and you like a smoother ride, then you're probably better off going with a wheel that's going to have more vertical compliance. If you want the benefits of carbon and you don't want to pay so much, and you really don't have a huge dislike for a little bit harsher ride, then yeah, I can actually recommend these Tuff Cycle wheels. Again, because they're durable, because they have a lot of the benefits that you get from carbon wheels. So to wrap it up, I think riders of all experience and all skill level who don't want to spend more than $1,000 for a wheel set can really get a lot of benefit from this wheel set. So any questions, comments, drop them below. Now, Tuff Cycle did give me a discount code, so if you're interested in these, I'm going to drop that below. That will give you $100 off a wheel set from Tuff Cycle. And if you do get a set of these, please put in the comments below what you think about these. Have you tried other lower priced carbon wheels? If you have, let me know the brand and let me know what you think about them. Thanks for watching.